Welcome to the podcast Selling Real Estate with Kelly Cook, where we will discuss the latest and most relevant business strategies to help you do one thing extremely well: sell more homes. We'll discuss everything from business planning to lead generation and conversion to past client customer service and everything in between. Join us for authentic conversations and nuts and bolts takeaways you can implement into your business today. And now, Selling Real Estate with Kelly Cook.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back. It's another episode of Selling Real Estate with Kelly Cook. We got the star, the legend, Kelly Cook with us today. Kelly, what is your number one goal for the week? I'm switching up the questions.
Oh, for the week.
For the week.
Oh, you know what? The week. Okay. The goal for the week is to try to instill as much as possible into agents on my team that they need to live with no regrets, right?
All right.
No regrets. I mean, it's a big thing right now because, you know, there's that book, the 5 Regrets of the Dying. And one of the things is, you know, that people regret not leaving it all out there, not
taking the chances.
Yeah, because of who knows, all kinds of different reasons, right? We all know those reasons to an extent, but that's it just came up yesterday, right? And so it's been like the theme this week, to don't have regrets about that, especially in a market like now, tying it back to real estate. That's a little more challenging than it was last couple of years. So don't be scared of rejection. Let's talk about that one. We're gonna stop. Probably the next podcast. But we could do a whole podcast on just the fear of rejection, because that's how powerful.
We don't want to get too into it today, but we will. Uh-oh, I'm losing Kelly a little bit. So fear of rejection, that is something, living with no regrets, that we will cover on the next episode or one of our future episodes coming up here. But today we want to get into recruiting. This is something we haven't talked about in a while, although we plug buildyourrealestateteam.com every single time you guys are with us, because that does give you the building blocks for how you would go about building your team. But if you are already running a team, if you have those building blocks ready and you're ready to start bringing on agents, now is the time to talk about that and what you are looking for in agents, where you find them, where are you getting your recruits from. We're going to get into all of that today. I know that last week we kind of let you know that Kelly has moved brokerages, has a new team name, kind of did a whole rebrand. So if you haven't listened to that episode yet, go back and listen to it, just in case you are thinking of living with no regrets, right? Want to take that plunge, move to another brokerage, change your team name, whatever it is. Please make sure you go and listen to that episode. Kelly kind of walks you through how he did it. But today we're talking about recruiting agents. So Kelly, real quick question to just start off here. What's the number one thing that you're looking for when you recruit somebody, when you're going out to find agents to bring to your team? What is kind of that number one quality you want them to have?
Motivation, hands down. Motivation is one, and integrity is number two. We all know this, guys, but you can't make someone do something they're not going to do. They might be able to do it for a day or two, but ultimately they're not sold on it themselves. They don't want it for themselves. Then you're just going to drive yourself crazy. I say all the time, I believe, maybe on this podcast before, but like there's this quote by Zig Ziglar that is extremely popular that says, if I help enough people get what they want, then I will get what I want. But I think
you literally mentioned that last time.
Yeah. Okay. So, but I think what he forgot to say, and I say this all the time because now it's funny, like, you know, when you're going to buy that blue Ferrari, well, I don't have one, but if I was going to, also you see blue Ferraris everywhere, right? It's that concept, you know, you see in your, with your brain, that enigma, I don't know what it's called, right? But I'm not a brain person, but it sparks that in your brain. Now you see that one thing you never really saw that much before, but you're aware of it now.
Confirmation bias,
quote, right? Yeah, and I feel like Zig forgot to say that you got to help the right people get what they want, meaning motivated people. Because if you just help people that are motivated, then it's not going to work. It's going to backfire. You're going to waste a bunch of your time. So I'm going to make a new quote, and I'm going to put that on the wall, and then one day someone will quote that one because it's a little more specific. But Zig ultimately is 1,000 times smarter than me, and he's right. But anyways, when it comes to recruiting, that's what we're looking for, Elizabeth, and we got to have that to start off with. Now, right now the market is slower, right? We're talking where it's the beginning of Q4 2022. The market is not what it was earlier this year. And so obviously there's a lot of people whose businesses are down. In fact, across the board, most people in Phoenix, as an example, most agents that do, any type of decent volume of business, on average, down about 30% from last year at this time. Okay. Potentially, I don't know, could get worse by the end of the year, but hopefully it gets better, right? For some people. We're one of those candidates that it should. But 30% is about the average. So if that's the case, and you're frustrated because maybe the people that you work with, whether they're partners, whether they're, team members, agents, whatever, that you're in business with, and you are reliant to an extent on their production, if the same amount of number of people are still on your team, but they're just not producing because business is down 30%, well, then what is the first thing you should go do? You should recruit 30% more agents to your team, because you can't squeeze the current people you have on your team to do more if they deep down inside do not want to do more. So that should be the goal for Q4 for every single person listening to this podcast. If you're, more than just a solo agent, and furthermore, if you are a solo agent, and you want to build that team, this is the time to do it. And this is, you might be down by 30% potentially, right? Let's say. Well, if you are, then hire some more agents to help get that volume back to where it was, because that's what you're going to need. Now, with that, you need systems. You're going to break things along the way, but that's all part of the process, unfortunately, right? So you have to do that and just rip the band off and get after it, fail forward faster. So from the recruiting side, there's some interesting things. I was at this seminar and I heard this one team do something similar to what we're going to talk about today, because I thought it's interesting. And when you talk about ripping the Band-Aid off, they're ripping the Band-Aid off, and it's going fast, 0 to 60, right? In a Lamborghini Countach, right? I mean, this thing is faster than Tesla. It's boom, it's going. So that's what they're doing. And what they're doing by that, meaning they are doing a lot of group interviewing. Okay. They are putting the feelers out there through job boards, Indeed, ZipRecruiter, maybe one or two, maybe just one at a time, but they're doing that. They're doing it through obviously their Sphere. They're doing it through mass email marketing. And they're inviting people, licensed and not, to these Zooms, and they're having a couple of Zooms a week. All right. We're going to start doing this as well. I think it's brilliant to an extent, right? But you're going to have some issues along the way when you do it. So they're opening the floodgates. And when they're bringing these people to the Zooms, then they are getting to know them. They're explaining the team, what the model is, what they offer, et cetera, the value proposition. They're explaining their core values. They're explaining what they expect. What they're looking for, that number one thing, motivation. Number two, integrity, right? And you might have 5 core values. We have other ones as well. But they hire as many as they can. Let that sink in for a second, right? They hire as many as they can. Why? Well, because what a lot of people come to find out, including yours truly, is that people can put on a front for a little period of time. So they'll tell you they're motivated. And then when you dive deep into the background, you'll notice let's say they have a family, they have a kid or two, they have a spouse, and no one's really making decent money. Let's say they have every reason to be motivated to make some money to support their family. Let's say just at the very least do that. Yet they will not follow the game plan. They will not make some business development calls. They will not hold that extra open house or two. They will not go knock on any doors. They will not have a social media campaign. They will do very little except maybe sit around, have the water cooler talk at the office, and check some emails. And it blows my mind. It blows my mind. But they do. And yet they go home and they complain about how they don't have anything. It's because of a lot of these fears, right? But that's what the human behavior is about. So they hire as many as they can. Why? Because they know that some will be good, some we don't. Yeah, and no matter how deep they go in the process with KPAs, let's say, or with DISC, or with Myers-Briggs, or all this stuff, at the end of the day, if they're not motivated, they're going to leave. They won't do the work. They'll select out themselves, or the team will probably kick them out. So they hire as many as they can. They put them through their system. Now, whatever your system is, but you should have some sort of onboarding system that will last more than one day, right? And if they like what they are doing, then they'll stay. They'll stick. If they don't, they'll self-select out. So really, you don't even have to worry about firing anybody, because A, they're independent contractors. You're not going to fire them. But B, you don't have to have a conversation about letting them go because they would just say, I don't want this anymore because their standards are too high for me. So some of the numbers are pretty staggering, right? But they're hiring. Let's say that they're hiring around 20 or so agents a month starting several months ago. This is not a brokerage.
That's
This is the
crazy.
team. Yeah, and the team's pretty good size, but they're going to basically be doubling, tripling, quadrupling this team size in a matter of just several months because of how they're choosing to go about doing this. There's something to be said about it, right? I guess we don't know how it'll end up 3 years from now for them or for us if we start doing something very similar. But if you just want to get there and not worry about is little Johnny going to make it or want to make it, then this is what you do. But you have to have you have to have a system in place when they come on board. When you have 20 human beings start, whether you're virtual or in house or whatever you're doing, whatever your system is, you better have some systems, some things for them to do, right? Some standards
Or
for
else
them
it's gonna
to
get
hit.
crazy.
It's going to get crazy. Yeah. Right now, obviously, they have people, they have systems. So they have, one person in their model that takes care of all the recruiting stuff. Cause that's, to an extent, a full-time job, right? If you're going to be doing that, then they have someone else who's going to work on the onboarding and the first 90 days, if you will, of the job. To have one person do both, I guess it could be done, but they better be very efficient, or otherwise you just got to bring in less agents, right? Maybe 10 a month or 5 a month or whatever it is, right? Even 5 a month was like, whoa, that could be a lot to a lot of cats to wrangle, right?
Yeah.
So, anyways, that's what they do. So that's one way you could do it, guys. The other school thought is that you go deep with them, right? You do all the personality profile, assessments, and you have 3 interviews. Now, let's be clear. I think that is extremely important to do for staff, right? For operational support positions, right? Employees, et cetera, right? Because you don't want people to self-select out. Ideally, you want to hopefully select the right one and you have longevity and stability and that's good for the agents and everything else. But when it comes to the agents, because you only have so many carrots you can dangle because they are independent contractors. If you don't run some sort of salary model, now I know there are some teams, very few, but some do a salary model for agents, right? And that's a whole other thing we talk about because there's some validity to that too as well. Pros and cons, right? But if you're not, and most people don't run that model, then just you want to bring people in. In my opinion, I've come to the conclusion this is the way I would go. This way we do go. We just don't bring in 20 at a month, right? We don't have that kind of. We're not there yet. But that's how we do if it's just one individual. Hey, do you see, can you fog a mirror basically? Okay, it's not that bad. Let's be clear. But if you have some motivation or you have some integrity and you have a couple of references that we talk to, because most of the people we're getting referred to anyways, right? Through our network. Then okay, let's go. Giddy up. Because we haven't ran job ads and that sort of thing for a while. But when we start doing that again, we will be looking to do a career night, if you will. That's what we called it, right? Where once a week people came into a Zoom or in our house and we our in-house office, and we actually had an explanation of our model and what we're doing and what the value prop of them coming into our team, our world. So it was good. But you got to stay with it. You got people and models and systems on the way to maintain it. So that's the recruiting game in essence. The other one is the long term play, right? If you want to recruit, producing agents over time, the best way to do that is by far to do it over time, right? You got to get in relationship with them.
Nurture, just like you do your
Nurture.
database, your sphere of
Yeah.
influence.
We just
Yes.
lost half the audience right there. Oh, I got to nurture and wait 6 to 12 to 18 months. Oh, yeah, I'm out. Right. Well, that's what it takes, guys. That's what it takes. If you want good quality people that are producing agents, that is what it's going to take because
And
they don't just
it's
jump
more,
ship.
a little bit more if you can't go fully jumping into, running 2 or 3 or however many meet and greets and stuff they're doing per week and all of that. Nurturing is a little bit slower pace, obviously. So no, you're not going to grow as quickly, but it is more sustainable long term, whether or not, you can keep up with kind of the pace that to add 20 agents to your team every month, right? So I
Yeah.
think it's a little bit more a little bit slower pace. Yeah, it's going to take more time, but it might be more sustainable in the future as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. It definitely should be and will be, but you got to put the work in up front. One way you could do that is by teaching classes, right? You teach a class, people are interested in maybe hearing what you have to say. You maybe plug your team a little bit. You're not selling your team, but you're just saying, hey, we run a team. This is some things that we do with respect to this topic that we're teaching on, right? That's all. And then you'd be surprised how many people, at least the ones that are usually the better ones, will come up and maybe they have no interest in being on our team, but they're gonna come ask questions. Well, some people will be interested maybe to ask right away, like, hey, what do you got going on your team about this? I like what we said you guys do, and that support, that'd be great because all I want to do is sell real estate or whatever it is, right? And you get a relationship with them. You talk with them, you put them in a database or CRM of some sort, and you drip on them and you maintain a relationship from afar. And then one day they may just say, you know what, I'm still the same production I was last year. Obviously, I got to change something if I want to increase it. And so I need to leverage, I need some support. What can you help me with? Let's have a conversation, right? Let's talk.
Okay, so that's nurturing, kind of working on them, waiting until they're ready to come make the move, and you're the person they come to, right? So really good, two really good ways that you can kind of go about recruiting. But Kelly, I want to go back to something that you said at the beginning when I kind of asked, what are the main things you're looking for? And you mentioned motivation and integrity. And I think it's interesting because those are both really soft skills, right? I mean, they're very important, but they're not hard skills. It's not, you're not saying I'm looking for somebody who has already sold, X amount of homes and has all this track record of being a productive salesperson. So when you're recruiting or you're looking to bring people onto the team, are you typically looking for people that already have a good business, have already done a lot of sold a lot of homes, or new agent? Are you willing to take a chance on new agents if they meet those qualifications? They're hungry, right? They don't know a lot about selling real estate, right? They're just got their license, but they're ready to learn. Like, what's kind of your do you have a preference, or do you take anybody and everybody who meets those qualities, those
Yeah,
soft
no,
skills?
we prefer obviously agents who have some experience. And the main reason why isn't because maybe they are less maintenance or anything of that nature, right? It's because they have perspective on other places. They have perspective on being at a place that there's no value provided, right? And now they are at a place where there's a lot of value, but there's a lot of agents that are new that come in that one of the reasons they are maybe not as happy as they would like to be is because they have no perspective on other places and what a lot of agents are going through or not going through because they don't have support. They don't have the systems, right? Things of that nature that make certain teams better than others. Let's be very honest about that, right? So we'll do both because we do have a onboarding red shirt. We call it red shirt program
Of
for any
course
agent
you
that's
do.
brand new.
Mhm.
Yeah, it is detailed out. It's detailed out for 90 days. So they know exactly what to do. They know exactly what metrics they need to hit if they want a certain result. Like it's crystal clear. The numbers don't lie. They work every single time. The problem and the reason why most people don't hit it if they don't is because they don't do the first lead measure, which is hitting their number of contacts every single day. That's it.
Mhm.
If they do, they will have deals in escrow, and they know exactly how many deals they have in escrow, and it works every time. It's a numbers game, and they'll be on their path to success, right? But again, most people don't. So we have a system for that, and we have a system where someone can plug into and be rewarded for obviously being a producing agent. So they can come in our system, and from a comp standpoint, they come in at a higher level because we have 12 different levels when it comes to compensation across the board. Very much so like a law firm where we have a partner level as well when you get towards the top of that tier. So that being said, they come in at a high level. They get rewarded for already being a producing agent elsewhere, and they can plug right into our systems and model as a producing agent. They can even have a team within a team, right?
Mhm.
Our model is set up to where they could have a team. They have an assistant, they have a couple agents, whatever it may be. They can plug right into our model, and they can actually be a team within a team and leverage some of the things that we provide, but not all of the things. And therefore, that could be a good hybrid because our goal at the end of the day, Elizabeth, is to ensure that agents can be a team leader. They can
Mhm.
be, if that's what they want to be, if they want to be, like me from that standpoint, they can do that without having to leave if they want to do that. We don't want someone to say, "Oh my goodness, well, to be, in a position like you're in, Kelly, I have to go elsewhere." No, no, you don't. You could have your own branding. The marketplace will only know about you. It'll be all about you and your team. But parts of your team that you don't want to maybe build out, or you don't want to, take the risk on financially, whatever case may be, then we'll handle for you. because we can operationally support that. So that's a big value proposition for if you're a
Yeah.
recruiting agent, or excuse me, that is a producing agent, or you're recruiting an agent that is brand new. So we have both, and we'll take both, and that's how our system's
Just
built
have
out.
different systems set up for
Yeah.
each. Okay,
Yeah,
interesting.
you have to be something that can take on the variety of people if you want to succeed in this real estate age that we're in.
And really empowering the agent, as you kind of talked about. You want to
100%.
empower them. Yeah, that's awesome.
Yep. It can't be about just one person anymore. It needs to be about all of the people that want to maybe take a ride on your train. That is the team. It's just a mechanism to help anybody, big or small, get from point A to point B faster.
Cool. All right. Well, we kind of talked about recruiting. Kelly went into the one and two number one things that you need to look for when recruiting. They're both equally important. Come on. Motivation and integrity. And then beyond that, that's when, you can kind of look into those other skills, what their production level is, but mostly why are they moving? Why do they want to work with you? Right? What's their motivation? And are they going to be a stand-up person? That sometimes, as Kelly mentioned, is something that you can't always find in a disc test or in a, job application or anything like that, and can sometimes show itself later on, which is why he talked about one of the ways that one team in particular is kind of going, on a train, fast tracking their way, hiring as many agents as they can, which is definitely one method of going about it. And then there's the other method of kind of being more of the coach, right? Or kind of the leader that attracts agents in a long-term nurture. So different ways you can go about it. Either way, if you are looking to build out your real estate team, make sure you go to buildyourrealestateteam.com, and that'll kind of give you the building blocks that you need in order to start recruiting agents, right? And to bring some people onto your team, whether you're a solo agent or you're just looking to kind of redo your systems, right? I think that that everybody could take a good look at their systems and make sure that they're in place. Probably should do that a couple of times throughout your career.
Absolutely.
So
absolutely.
gotta audit that stuff.
Every year.
Wonderful. Well, we will see you all next time. Kelly, if anybody wants to reach out to you and has any questions, where can they do that?
Yeah, 480-227-2028 or info@cookandassociatesaz.com.
It's a new email address for you, so make sure you write that one down.
Absolutely. Use it.
We will see you guys all next time. Thank you so much. Bye, Kelly.
Thanks, everyone. Thanks, Elizabeth.
Welcome to the podcast Selling Real Estate with Kelly Cook, where we will discuss the latest and most relevant business strategies to help you do one thing extremely well: sell more homes. We'll discuss everything from business planning to lead generation and conversion to past client customer service and everything in between. Join us for authentic conversations and nuts and bolts takeaways you can implement into your business today. And now, Selling Real Estate with Kelly Cook.